Welcome in to Greenville Grit, Greenville residents in touch on 103.7 WTIB. This is the local show that keeps you connected and in touch with the issues that affect what's happening in your community. Greenville Grit is sponsored by Ribeyes, Kid Construction, and Greenville Toyota. Now, here are your hosts for Greenville Grit, Terry Williams and Michael Overton.
Hello and welcome to Greenville Grit. I'm Terry Williams. I'm here today with my co-host, PJ Conley. Welcome again.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're here today. And we have got a wonderful guest with us. Our Director of Recreation and Parks, Gary Fenton, is with us today, and he's going to share with us all the great, exciting things that are happening in that particular department of the city, and also share with us other things that are going on and maybe some events coming up in the month of December, because it's really busy in the city right now and all around our area.
It really is.
So we're going to get into that shortly, but before we do, let's thank our sponsors who've been with us for a while, and we so appreciate it that they have stayed on board with us. We want to thank Greenville Toyota. If you are looking for a new or a used vehicle, please contact them at greenvilletoyota.com, or you can call them at 252-321-3000. We want to thank Ribeyes Steakhouse. It's a great time to go and take your family and celebrate during the holidays, or I don't know if it's too late to book a party, but I'm sure they would love it if you still called them and tried to get on their schedule. But they have wonderful steaks and great salad bar. They have a location on Fire Tower Road here in Greenville, or you can also contact them for their Williamston location. So certainly give them a try this holiday season and any other time during the year. I'm sure they try to accommodate you. We also want to thank Overton Residential Properties and Michael for continuing to sponsor the show. If you are looking for a new home or you need to sell your home, you can contact me, Terry Williams, or Michelle Connors, or Trey Williams, and we'll be glad to help you. You can contact us at overtonresidential.com, or you can give us a phone call at 252-375-8620. So we're going to take a short break and get back and find out everything that's happening in the city of Greenville. See you in a minute. Welcome back, and today we're going to talk to Mr. Gary Fenton about everything that's happening in the month of December and maybe beyond, but especially concentrating on December. So welcome today. We're so glad to have you, and we're just going to sort of let you start talking about things that you want to discuss, and then we'll just break in and ask our questions.
Well, I'll try to take care of that.
All right, that sounds good.
The month of December obviously is a very special month, simply because of the holidays that are associated with it and all the things that are going on in Greenville.
That's
Many
right.
of those things are related to us or to the city in general, but some aren't, and yet they are great opportunities for our community and the people who live here and the
right.
people who visit here as well. First thing I want to plug, of course, is the Greenville Gives holiday celebration, which is taking place this Friday evening, December the 2nd. At Five Points Plaza. This is about maybe the fifth or sixth year of Greenville Gives. Prior to that, it was just a little Christmas lighting program on the corner by the library and Evans Street. But it's grown significantly.
Right.
And each year there are more people coming out, and I think they kind of see it as the kickoff of the holiday season.
Right.
It includes an awful lot of things that are good for families in our community, and so we invite people, adults and children, to come out. Santa obviously shows up, as does Mrs. Santa Claus.
Okay.
And he comes in on the trolley, and it's quite the show to see these kids all flock around him and line up, obviously, to give him their wishes for this Christmas.
Right.
But in addition to that, the mayor is always on hand to read the night before Christmas.
That's right.
To the kids. A lot of entertainment, a lot of good entertainment from various groups in Greenville. And it's a great way to kick off the season. Good food and a lot of nonprofits who are there to obviously to promote themselves and to try to raise money, or in some cases food for the food bank.
Right.
That kind of thing. We ask people to bring cans of food if they'd like, or make a donation if they'd like. But take the time to learn about all these wonderful nonprofits that are in our community. And that's why it's called Greenville Gives.
Okay.
But it is a kickoff. It's just an hour and a half from 5:30 to 7, Friday night, December the 2nd, and it's all free.
Okay.
Even the food that people get, it's free.
So is this like the official lighting of the Christmas tree?
It will
and
be.
Everything.
It
okay.
will be.
Because as of yesterday, it wasn't up yet.
No, well, we don't put it up ahead of time.
Okay, that's
It'll
what
be
I was
up.
wondering. Because my daughter and I were down there eating lunch, and I said, "Oh, the tree's not up yet, unlit or not, it's not up yet." So I was just
It will
wondering.
be. It's always been that last day when it goes up, and
Okay.
it's a little climactic then, but it has become a real tradition for us. In the past, it's been followed the next day by the Greenville JC's Christmas parade.
Okay.
This year, the parade is 1 week later,
Okay.
and that's going to be on the
10th.
10th, on
okay.
Saturday the 10th. And it's Greenville, I'm sorry, the Greenville Christmas Parade and the Greenville JCs have really been a tradition. I think this is over the 30th year
Right.
that they've been out there to sponsor this, and that's a great thing. It's a lot of work for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And but it benefits a lot more. And it's going to start at 5 o'clock, but they're expanding the program this year. They're actually having an event that starts at 2 at 5 Points Plaza, same place where we'll have
Wow.
Greenville Gives, and a lot of food and activities for kids and all kinds of entertainment, crafts, and it's just a lot of fun. And you can come out at 2 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, the parade will start. It'll start there at near Town Common at Evans Street and First,
Okay.
and come right by 5 Points Plaza. So if you're already there, it's a good spot to see it.
All right.
It'll then turn at Reed Circle and head back toward Town Common, and then about 3rd Street on Reed Street.
So
Okay.
it is a different path than years
It
past.
sure is.
It is. It is. It's been so very, very popular, and I think the JCs thought, we ought to add something to it. So hopefully they'll get a lot of support from the community. They won't just come out for the parade. They'll come out ahead of time. The whole activity is basically from about, I believe it's 2 o'clock till 8.
Right.
So there's something going on all through that
Wow.
time period.
Which is great for the businesses down there too, because you get that many people down there between 2 and 8 o'clock in the afternoon and at night. That's kind of neat, and this is kind of something different too, as far as having the parade at night. Because
That's
I know
what I was
traditionally
thinking, yeah.
the parade is during the day.
Yeah, it's been in the morning.
And I think this will be kind of neat, and hopefully they'll be able to put some more lights into it to help the kids or to show the kids that some additional decorations. I think that'll be really neat.
I do too. I mean, it's going to have that Christmas light feeling to it because it's after dark, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to seeing how it works.
Yeah.
But I've been at other night parades, and at Christmas time, it's particularly nice to have an evening parade. So we're looking forward to that. Also, this weekend is the opening, reopening of the South Greenville Recreation Center.
Okay.
Been a long time coming. I've shared with others in the past that we heard from a gentleman some years ago named Cliff Hickman, who came to a Recreation and Parks Commission meeting that happened to be at the Epps Recreation Center. And he came in expressing concerns about the South Greenville Recreation Center. And, there wasn't a member of the commission or a staff that could argue with Mr. Hickman's concerns. It was true. It was an older building. It was built in the mid-'50s and hadn't had much of an upgrade since then.
Right.
And yet it was still very popular with the community, especially the young people. So he knew it had a tremendous value to this community, and Mr. Hickman knew that as well. Unfortunately, he's deceased, so he's not here to see
Right.
that we finally got around to it. And we never lost sight of that. We'd always wanted to do something significant, and through council support, we were able to do something very significant.
Right.
The other big turning point for us with the South Greenville Recreation Center is that it has always been a location, because it has a gym, always been a location for the physical education classes offered by the South Greenville Elementary School. And they would come across the path and come over and use that gym in the daytime, which was not a heavy use time for us because all the
Right.
kids were in school. So it made sense.
Right.
It was a publicly supported building. So as the school system publicly supported, why not?
Right.
Why not get together and use it? But now the agreement and the relationship is official, and the project is about $2.7 million. It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but we're remembering that it's an investment probably for the next 30 or 40
Right.
years.
That's right.
In addition to that, the schools put in $600,000 into that capital project, and considering the fact that we've not asked that in the past, that's a big step,
Right.
a big progressive step forward, and I really appreciate their participation, not only in the capital project itself, but in the operational costs.
Right.
Because they will continue to use that gymnasium. The difference is it is a high high-quality gymnasium.
Right.
Certainly the nicest one we have. And I think people at the opening at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, the 3rd of December, will be pleasantly surprised. If they were in the building in the past, the contrast is just phenomenal.
Right, yeah.
And every time I go in there, I just have to marvel at what money can do.
Right, I know.
We also had a contractor there named Stocks and Taylor, but the manager for the project was named Blake Goodall. And Blake, I think he put his heart and soul into this
Right.
project. It wasn't just a job. And I was speaking with him just recently, and he was just marveling over how cool it is.
Right.
And there's no question, it is a cool facility.
Right.
I think it's going to be popular well beyond the immediate neighborhood. But certainly,
Right.
I think the immediate neighborhood's going to embrace it as their own. And that's very important to us in Parks and Recreation, that people do see these facilities, take pride in them, and take care of them.
Exactly.
Occasionally we do have littering. Occasionally we do have vandalism. If a community embraces a particular facility or park, there's very little of that.
Right.
And it's like they look out for it.
That's right. Well, they take ownership in it.
Absolutely. And that's what
right.
we hope will happen there.
That's right. So, speaking of that, are there any plans on the table? Because my grandsons play, and we spend some time at Boyd Lee, and it's time for that to have some work done to it as well. Are there any plans for that as a council? You can probably answer this too. Done anything about providing any funds, or is anything on the table
Well,
about getting something
let me
done
first
there?
say there's always need.
Oh, sure.
In every corner.
I'm sure.
And it's like, get in line, you know.
Yeah.
And but I will say, and it's funny you would mention that today, because we had a meeting there this morning. And we were just discussing, this is, by the standard of our facilities, it's a fairly new facility.
Right.
But it was built in 2002, so it's 14 years old. Anything that's 14 years
Right.
old starts to show some
Right.
age to it. And so there are needs in terms of painting. The floors need to be resealed. They're all worn.
Right.
And yes, it's on the list. How much we can do, we're trying to do a lot of different things.
Sure.
Sometimes from a neighborhood perspective, sometimes city in general, sometimes things that have a real economic value that may
Right.
generate more economic revenues and tax revenues for the city. They're all good things.
Yeah,
They're all
yes.
good things. Unfortunately, they kind of butt heads once in a while. And yes, we want to do that. The one thing that is on the books that will be funded is air conditioning.
All right. Right.
And obviously, when I first came here and somebody showed me this relatively new facility, and I found out no air conditioning in the gym. Are you kidding? Well, it was one of those value engineering issues that the budget came in, or rather, the bids came in higher than the budget, and so you start cutting things out. And in summertime in Eastern North Carolina,
I know.
you need air.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
a sauna in there, and it won't be.
I find that astonishing.
I know.
Of all the things that you could cut, going through a project, you would cut the air conditioning in Eastern North Carolina, like you said. My goodness.
Well, and we had some massive fans in there, but massive fans, they help, but they make a lot of noise.
Yeah,
Sure.
And so
they
you couldn't
do.
hear anything while we were in there. But we had the same thing. We had many gyms, including South Greenville, that had no air conditioning up until this project.
Right.
And we had none at the fitness center. We had none at EPS, and now we do.
Right.
And so gradually we're eating away at some of those real needs in the community, and I think it will be a much more popular facility, especially in the summer months when we have air.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Well, obviously they're well-used facilities. The community wants to use them. I mean, Boyd Lee's used a lot. I mean, we're there, a lot for both ages of the boys to play basketball and other sports. I mean, we've played used the baseball fields and various things. And I'm not crazy about the design. I know it's not a very old building, and I'm sure even when it was built, but I hope if it's ever redone, that some things might be redone in even the Boyd Lee Park. So I'm interested to see what was done in the South Greenville, because it's probably designed differently, I would think.
It is designed differently. There's probably some things you can maybe recognize.
Right.
We kept the gym shell. But for the rest of the building,
Yeah,
that was
it's
gone.
different, yeah.
Okay, and of course the gym doesn't
Yeah,
look
it doesn't
anything
look
like the old gym.
right,
You may
exactly.
remember it had carpeted flooring. We still have one gym with carpet.
Right.
And today people look and say, now whose idea was this? It's something that was done in the past in some places. Nobody ever
Prior to
embraced
you,
it.
right?
Yes.
Oh, please.
Yeah, my son Trey, who's 36 now, he played basketball over there when he was at Rose. They'd go over and practice and play on the weekends, with all the guys, and long time ago, and it needed help back then. So, all those guys would be really glad to see it done.
The Elm Street Gym was the same way.
That's right.
And now as the Drew Still Center, it's hard to remember. Sometimes we go back and look at photographs because we have to remind ourselves, hey, it's still looking great. It really does.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have that standard.
Oh, I think it's exciting. I think it's just really exciting for all the kids. And adults play in some of these places. I don't know about the South Greenville, but out at the Drew Still, I guess they still have the adult leagues.
Absolutely.
You have all of that going on right now.
In South Greenville as well. There's
right.
adults. And there's going to be more pressure now.
That's
of course,
right.
Which is a good thing.
I know. I think so
but
too.
People will. When they see that gymnasium on Saturday, it's just... It shines. It sparkles.
We're trying to promote healthy community, and that's all part of having those facilities to use too, and that's important.
It is. And speaking of staying active, this weekend also is the annual Reindeer Dash for Cash.
Okay.
That honored Captain Christopher Cash, who died in Iraq. And it's a popular event. It honors really all servicemen who have lost their lives there. It's become very, very popular, and it starts at 1 o'clock at Town Common on Sunday, and people can get information. They can still sign up. They can sign up that day if they like, but they can find information on reindeer-forcash.org.
Okay.
So it's online and got all the information they need, and we're proud that continues to take place at Town Common.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's a busy weekend. Busy weekend.
Yeah, there's when people say, "Well, there's nothing to do in Greenville," I think, wait a minute.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
Come to Parks and Recs. You guys have quite a bit going on, so there's plenty of stuff you can offer.
We try. We try to really provide a menu of things. You're not going to appeal to everybody with a single program, obviously. We have some of our fans out there who practically sign up for everything we do. But there's an awful lot of people that target one particular area, whether it be the arts or physical activity, fitness or sports or nature.
That's right.
We try to do a little of all of that.
So right now you have in just the normal recreation parks, normal activities outside of holiday. You have your normal things that people sign up for, classes and like at the J.C. Park and different areas. Can you just elaborate just a little bit on that?
Well, the Arts Center is at J.C. Park.
Right.
Our building, our administrative offices are headquartered there. That doesn't mean all the staff work there.
Right.
They're all over the place. But the administrative office is at one end of the building. The Arts Center is at the other end of the building. And our focus on the arts is predominantly there.
Right.
But it still goes out into these other facilities out in the rec centers and those kind of things as well. But at the Arts Center, we have, kilns, and we have a lot of ceramics and sculpture and sewing and weaving, those kinds of programs. Certainly all sorts of painting programs, adults and kids.
Right.
And then in the summertime, we go into an awful lot of camps.
Right.
And some of those camps are arts-related camps. Our camps in the past few years have been extremely popular. And I mean, we probably have maybe 15 or 16 different camps. Most of those camps have 6 to 8 different sessions.
Yeah.
Whether some of them are 1 week, some of them are 2. And I would say 80% of them, maybe 80, 90% were filled last time. Every session was filled, which just shocked me.
Crazy.
Actually.
I know.
It's a nice problem to have.
It is.
You feel bad when people say, "I can't get my kid in this program." Well, we do have a limit, So we encourage people to sign up early. And here I'm talking about summer, and Christmas isn't here yet. But we are in the process of creating our spring and summer brochure.
It has to
It
be
will
done
be out
early.
in January.
Yeah.
And so by the January 20th, well, before that, because we have to actually turn it in to be published, but in early January, we have to have all the details of our summer
That's
program
right.
established. And we encourage people, when they get the brochure, it will either say you can sign up today, or it'll say you can sign up effective this particular date.
Right.
And those dates are usually, there are people lined up all over the place,
amazing.
online or out the front door of our offices. We encourage people to sign up early because they may not get in if they don't.
It's phenomenal. Ever since I've gotten on the council, I read a lot, and I read a lot of the newsletters you guys sent out, and the Parks and Recs newsletter that's sent out, and the amount of events. You look down, you have a chronological order of all the events you have, and I mean, your newsletter is about 3 or 4 pages long. With all the events that go on, and I remember going through during the summertime, going through all the camps that you were doing, I'm reading some of these camps and I'm going, wow, this is amazing. One of them was a zombie camp. And I looked at it.
Very
and
popular.
And I was going to say, you have the enrollment, and that thing was full. There were some other events or some other groups that they had for the events. And it blew my mind. I said, wow. I said, they offer a little bit of everything for everyone.
Well, we have a staff. Some of our staff are a little bit towards the crazy end. Actually, that's why we hired them.
Yes.
I mean, when we talk creative, we've got some people that, not afraid to be silly once in a while.
Right.
They're not afraid to
Makes
be
it
put on a
fun.
funny costume or something. They're fun people.
Right.
And that kind of spreads to the kids and the adults
Right.
that participate in the program. We have a mud day out at River Park North. That's probably maybe going into its 5th year maybe. And these kids just are able to get in and get totally covered in mud. Once in a while, the parents join in.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's
fun.
we call it a shower station nearby
Yeah.
where they can get cleaned up afterwards.
Well, it's
But
just great to know what we have to offer for people to do, and they really need to go online. What's the website that they would go on?
They go right to the city's website,
Okay.
which is www.greenvillenc.gov. And then there's departments, and they
Okay.
click on recreation and parks, and they can go from there.
Okay. I want to switch gears just a little bit. We had a natural disaster, Hurricane Matthew, and we know just riding down, by 5th Street, we had some flooding on the greenways and River Park North are the two that come to my mind. So I'm assuming at this point, condition-wise, everything's back to normal. But what happens after a storm like that? What's involved as far as getting it back and being able to use it?
Well, I think what people sometimes don't realize, obviously, when the floodwaters go down, we've got mud.
Right.
Okay, so there has to be a situation where we clean things off to some level. Nature will take care of some of
Right.
that in terms of grasses and rain and that kind of thing later. But there's also an issue if there was ever a sewage spill or anything like that, you've got the possibility of bacteria.
Right.
And so things have to be sanitized, playground equipment, that kind of thing. Most of the things that we build and put in the flood areas where they're prone to flooding, we know that it's going to happen.
Right.
They're built to survive that. That doesn't mean they always will.
Right.
It could be pretty severe. But for the most part, the greenway came out fine. There's a little criticism out there sometimes. Well, why did you put a greenway next to the river? Well, because 99% of the time,
Right.
it's a lovely place to walk.
Exactly.
Or ride or run. And it's not much good sometimes for anything else.
Right.
But a flat surface survives the water, and yes, we
That's
have
right.
to spray it off afterwards and clean it up so that people can use it again. There's a lot of work involved
Right.
after the fact. We were very fortunate at River Park North when they rebuilt the nature center after Hurricane Floyd. They raised the level of it.
Right.
And so, although most of the park was flooded, the nature center was not.
That's great.
And it stood up there like on the highest
an
point.
island.
Yeah. But that's why it was our biggest
Yeah,
concern. The
yeah.
rest of the park, that's nature.
Right.
And so it's going to happen on
Okay.
occasion.
Well, I know there was probably some concern because you could see the greenway on Green Springs Park, and so I'm glad to know that it was not as much damage as it could have been. So
Same thing with
that's
Elm
awesome.
Street Park.
Exactly.
The biggest flooding there was during the storm.
Right.
Because the actual rainfall was so tremendous, it really came through, but not too much damage.
Right. Well, we're going to take a short break right now, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. I think you want to share maybe a new brochure that they're doing.
I
We'll
want to
cover
talk
that.
a little bit about the playground. at
Okay,
Town
that's
Common.
great. We'll cover that real quickly and then wrap things up. Be back in a moment. Welcome back. We've enjoyed so much information, a wealth of information, so much going on in the city. Now let's go ahead and give it right back to you, Gary, and you tell us some other things a couple of things you want to wrap up with today.
Well, I want to remind people about the new project at Town Common, the Town Common Playground,
Okay.
which was funded by a lot of different sources, but primarily through the Trillium Health Resources, who provided $750,000 toward
Right.
that project. It was about $1 million project. People say, how do you spend $1 million on a playground? When you're making a really elaborate and beautiful and functional playground, you can do it.
Right.
We felt that we should really target something special because it's at Town Common, and Trillium emphasized inclusion.
Right.
We always want to emphasize inclusion, but I hope people who have not seen it will go down there and take a look.
Right.
It really is very special. We are so grateful to Trillium, but also to the city for their support, to GUC, Biden Health, Greenville Appliance, other businesses and individuals who donated money towards this.
Great.
But it's a special place, and we've got nothing but good reports about it.
That's awesome.
And so it's going to be open all the time.
All
So
right,
get down there and
good.
enjoy.
I spoke to somebody yesterday, and they said that they have been down there every single day except for Thanksgiving Day because they had to go out of town. so if that gives you any indication on what level people are using that park, that's a pretty good feedback right there.
It is, and that's what it's there for. So that's a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we want to, is to create that habit, so to speak, of going to that area. So as we start enhancing the grounds even more with whatever is intended for its use, that they'll be able to go.
There'll be people in Town Common when Pirate
time.
Fest is not
That's right.
in Town Common. So,
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
exactly. Well, I guess we're going to have to wrap it up now, but we so have enjoyed it. Thank you for all the information. And I want to thank our sponsors one more time. We want to thank Greenville Toyota, Ribeye Steakhouse, Overton Residential. You can see us on Friday nights at 6:30 and on Saturday mornings at 9:30, and catch us again next Wednesday at 6:30. So we'll see you then, and have a great week.